Over a decade ago, I had to self-teach myself SEO, and I know that there's a ton of people out there that also find themselves in the same place. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing a game plan for you that you can take in the case where you are trying to learn SEO by yourself on a budget. By the end of this video, you're going to have a 5-step game plan that you can start using today to level up your SEO skills. Hey, I'm Will, and if you're new to the channel, tell me what your name is and how long you've been studying SEO. The first step that I'd give you if you're trying to learn SEO by yourself on a budget is to actually find a project that you're willing to invest at least a year in. In most cases, you actually want to be able to invest 2 years into it, but in general, you will quickly learn that SEO is not a game in which you can just start creating content and the next day it's going to be ranking. It's something in which if you watched my recent video in terms of how long it takes to actually get SEO results, you would know that it takes on average at least 3 to 6 months, especially when you're working on a new domain. In the case where you buy an existing domain where it already has some existing domain authority, you might be able to short circuit that, but in general, it is going to take some time in order to actually start ranking a new site. And so this is something that you just need to actually commit to when you are starting to learn SEO. You need to have a project that you actually care about enough that you're not just going to quit when it comes to month number 3 or month number 4. It's no different than if you were to start some sort of workout plan and you wanted to see some real transformation. It simply takes time and consistency to start seeing results. In my case, a decade or so ago, it was because I had co-founded a business in which we had been working on our product for 2 years and we hadn't really generated many sales. And the reason why was just because there weren't a lot of eyeballs on our product. So we needed to learn SEO so that we could get in front of new customers and then begin to share about our product and then from there generate sales. But the reality was that it actually took us upwards of 2 years before we started seeing meaningful organic traffic from the efforts that we did in our content marketing. So whatever it is, step number 1 is find a product that you actually care about. And in the case where you want to build alongside other people, you can check out a subreddit like Just Start to find similar-minded people that are working on longer-term projects. The second step I tell you to take if you are trying to learn SEO by yourself on a budget is to learn on-page fundamentals. On-page SEO is pretty much the bread and butter of a lot of beginner to intermediate SEO tactics, and so you need to understand the fundamentals before you start to go branch out on yourself on more intermediate or advanced strategies. If you don't know what to put on a page when you're crafting something for SEO, then you shouldn't expect some meaningful results from your SEO efforts. It's as simple as that. What you first should learn are things like what exactly makes an effective title tag. And I have a free video on my channel for that as well in case you haven't seen that one. But then from there, you're gonna wanna learn other things like what makes a good meta description to actually compel somebody to click through. Or when you're actually structuring your paragraphs, what is really readable for somebody on a mobile device as opposed to a desktop device? What do I need to do in terms of the images and the alt text for those images to actually start ranking my images? And how many interlinks should I include in my article to other pages on my site versus external links to foreign sites that are different from my own domain? Answering these sorts of questions all come down to knowing the fundamentals to on-page SEO. So in the case where you want to learn more about fundamentals, you can check out more videos on YouTube teaching you on this topic, as well as top SEO blogs like Moz, Ahrefs, as well as Backlinko. From here, the third step I tell you to do is to complete your keyword research. You want to figure out what are the first 100 or 200 long tail phrases that I want to actually go after to start generating organic traffic for my site. By doing your keyword research, you're then able to get the seed phrases that you'll use in order to form your content strategy. I recommend starting out with Keywords Everywhere's $10 plan, which gives you 100,000 credits that you can use with their tool. 100,000 credits goes a long way. In fact, I typically only have to replenish things maybe once or twice a year. The goal of this keyword research stage as you learn SEO is to figure out exactly the different types of intent that are out there around people that are searching for things. There's things like informational intent versus transactional intent versus navigational search intent. And so figuring out exactly what type of intent is in your niche will then allow you to figure out exactly what sort of content pieces you should start to create for your blog or your website or whatever it is that you are building. In the case where you need help learning how to effectively keyword research with tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, you can check out my free videos on my channel that will teach you fundamentals there. Before we head into the next step, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button below. The fourth step is to draft your content plan and then begin to execute. Content plans are really important because they give you a goal to work towards. So what's really important for you to do is to make sure that you're setting SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. objective. So maybe, for example, in the next quarter, you want to create 10 pieces of long-form informational content around XYZ topic in your niche. That would be your goal, and then from there, you'd work backwards on the quarter to see exactly what pacing you need to work at in order to hit that goal of 10 pieces. The purpose of this step is to be able to always have a clear answer if you were ever randomly asked, hey, what are the next 5 or 15 posts that are going to be released on your content calendar? When you're in this planning stage, it can be really helpful to sprinkle in different types of content. So the reason why I say this is because, especially when you're learning SEO, it's really important for you to test out different types of content to figure out what you might be more intuitively better at creating. So in that situation, you might double down on transactional intent as opposed to creating a ton of informational piece that you know you're not going to excel at. Around this stage, as you start to execute, you also want to make sure that you start to install some sort of a tracking method for your site. Most often, people will use something like Google Analytics, which is completely free, and what that will track for you are the page views as well as the user behavior as they visit your site. This will give you more clarity as to which content pieces of yours are actually resonating with your audience. From my experience, I typically recommend that you start out with a topic cluster of at least 4 to 5 content pieces per theme. The reason why is because you want to give yourself enough opportunities to see exactly how your readers or your target audience resonate with the pieces that you're creating, while also giving you enough to have a foundation in the case where it works out and you want to start scaling out that topic even further. The 5th step when it comes to learning SEO by yourself on a budget is to just review what's working and then keep shipping. So at this point in time, after a few months, you're going to have at least 10 or so content pieces out there, and you should also have enough data to be able to start making calls. I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of one of my own sites after 3 months of working on this site. What you'll see is that in the data, there pretty much was nothing on the far left side as I was building out the site. However, over time, as I released more and more content, people started to view the content. And then if you dig into the pages, what you'd end up seeing is you would end up seeing which pages are getting the most page views within the first few months. So what this will tell you is exactly what topics people find interesting or that you've been effective at ranking for right out of the gate. So this can be really helpful because it'll give you the telltale signs as to which topic areas you should double down on and then continue building more authority around on your new website. This might also help you identify which pages you need to update in order to give them another shot at improved rankings, because now, after several months of working in SEO, you know how to optimize a page. With this data, you'll be able to continue iterating on your content strategy. And if you keep learning from other sources like a Backlinko, Ahrefs, SEMrush, and so on, then you will be able to better understand how the things you're putting out there are or are not being recognized as good content. Thinking back to what I did with my very first big SEO project, I ran a blog that had several million page views every single month, and what we would look at on a 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month timeline is what content pieces were continuing to get sustained traffic year round and weren't seasonal, and then in the case where they were seasonal, how could we capitalize on that sort of seasonal traffic in other areas in our niche? So it's only by reviewing the data and learning how to dig into the insights like page time as well as the number of page views that you're seeing in a different series that you'll be able to invest in the right areas in your content strategy. If you do this effectively, what you'll do is you'll end up going back to step number 3, where you'll restart keyword research, dig deeper into a topic, and then continue to build out your authority in a particular space. What I hope you realize from the 5 steps I've shared today is that you really don't need to invest a whole lot in order to learn SEO. All you need is to actually invest time and then ship out work so that you can see the data for yourself and learn from your own mistakes. I always recommend this method as opposed to going out and buying some sort of course, because while a course can certainly teach you some fundamentals, it won't actually teach you to take action on the fundamentals. It's only by actually finding a project that you're passionate in that you'll actually be able to start learning about SEO and exactly how to rank a site. If anything, what you quickly learn is that when you invest your time into an SEO project, that within itself is the greatest investment you can make, because time is ultimately everybody's most valuable asset. So just think about that before you go and shell out a couple $100 or a few $1,000 on another SEO course. Now it's your turn though. Tell me in the comments below, how are you currently learning or planning to learn SEO? If you made it this far in this video, you are the real MVP. Hit that like button below to get your blue thumbs up trophy, and consider subscribing for more digital marketing, sales, and entrepreneurship content every single week. In the case where you're working on some content marketing, I'll leave a link to my Jumpstart Kit with some more tips and tricks in the video description below. That's it for this time. I'll catch you guys in the next video. In the meantime though, check out these videos that YouTube thinks you might like.